Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at this small Portulacaria afra. This one, actually, it just, I've got a few trees like this. There's trees that are developed from cuttings, which I consider, something like that would be a cutting. That technically, if you take off a whole branch or something like that, it's still a cutting because it's cut from another tree. But this one was the latter of that. So it all started as a branch on one of my larger trees. And what I like doing about that is it's already got development on it. This has probably been in this pot for maybe a year, a little more, a year and a half. And so when I cut it off, it already had shape because I'd been training that branch, but then I decided I didn't want it on that larger tree. So it already had a decent trunk shape on it. In this pot, it's a little off center, but I can fix that on a future repot. But anyway, so it already had some movement, but when I potted this, it was really flat on what is now the front because, like I said, it was a branch and it was horizontal. So it was basically laying down like that. So if you can picture that, I don't know if I can tip it too much, but it basically was a branch on a large tree like that. And when I initially planted it, it was heavy on this side and really flat on the front side. So the past year, what I've been trying to do is, position the front side towards the sun, or when it's inside now towards the light, just so I can kind of develop the front and get the balance between the front and back. And I've pretty much accomplished that. So it's, equal. Once I prune off some of this growth in the back, it'll be pretty equal. And I'm pretty happy with the way it's formed up, for, like I said, a little over a year and a half or something, because I think it was might have been last 2 summers ago, when I potted it, rooted it and all that good stuff. But so today I'm just going to do some light pruning on this, inspect the wire to make sure it's not biting in anywhere, and just kind of give it a wintertime check. Like I mentioned in a couple other my videos, I like to take my trees off, ones that I haven't looked at for a while, even though they don't need a large amount of work. I just like getting them in front of the lights on the turntable to where I can just kind of inspect them and make sure there's no bugs, or just make sure the tree's healthy and all that good stuff. So today we're just going to prune it up a little bit, get it kind of back in shape, and just see what's going on underneath here. And this branch here is pretty thick, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take that back a little more aggressive and let that kind of bush back out. But the more you prune on these guys, the more they branch out and grow. So that's kind of what I'm doing too today. That might work. Kind of got this branch here that kind of Y's off. One goes up and one goes down. That's not really ideal. I was trying to see if I could spin it, kind of twist it, rotate it, if I put some wire on it, but I can't. So I think, even though I'll lose some of that green to fill in there, but that's just not a desirable branch position. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off and then let that kind of fill back in over there. So it left a little bit of a hole there, but that's fine. It'll, like I said, it'll fill back in. This looks like this little branch here is growing down, so we'll get rid of that. I could rotate this one because this is kind of drooping down a little bit, but I think for now it'll be fine. Just maybe take off some of these leaves that are growing down. Might help the look of it. Thin out the top. And this tree here, I think I might have mentioned this in another video of it. I think I've done a video on this tree before. It doesn't really have a back branch. You know, there's not a branch coming off of the main trunk that goes towards the back. But what I do have is a branch, pretty significant branch coming off of this side branch, which I've got it trained going towards the back, which kind of fills in for the back branch. So I think it, even though technically it's not, doesn't follow the rules of bonsai design as a back branch off the trunk, but I think it works for, at least for me. Just trying to get in here and get some of these leaves that are facing down off. I think that'll work. This may be coming out a little bit too far, but I think I'll wait on doing anything. I may have to wire that one down, which I think I might go ahead and do that. Let me grab a little piece of wire here, and I'm just going to do my little hook method, I call it. I'm not sure what, it's kind of a guy wire, but it's anchoring off of another branch. So what I do is make a little hook like that, and then I'll make one on the bottom side when I get it pulled down. But so I'll take this branch, kind of hook it around the upper branch and kind of pull it down to where I want it. I think that'll work somewhere in there. And then bend it around the lower branch to anchor it in place. Yeah, I think that kind of makes the tree, kind of gives me that triangle dome shape a little bit better, and that'll grow and fill in that spot where I lost that. Got this big leaf here growing down. Let me get rid of that now. Yeah, I think that may improve the shape a little bit. So once that sets in place, I can take that hook off. Let me just shorten these back ones up a little bit. that'll work just fine. Don't really like that sticking up there, so let's shorten that a bit. Yeah, I think that gets me where I want to go for today, anyway. Just one more step forward. Like I said, I just wanted to talk about, where this tree came from, and, you can get some decent little trees from just cutting off branches of bigger trees. And that's kind of another tip. If you maybe go to a home center or something like that, just be on the lookout for Portulacaria afras. Sometimes they're hard to see, but if you can get one in a decent size bucket, and it usually has, a half a dozen, 4, 5, 6 stalks, as long as they're not too old. But even if they are, the trunk will be pretty straight on most of the nursery grown ones. But then you can start training the branches. Just take the branches that are at the top of the tree and start wiring them and give them some shape, and just sit it in the corner and let it grow. And then you can get future cuttings from that big pot. And then you can get something like this pretty quick. So that's what I do anyway. I'm always on the lookout when I go to home centers, especially toward the end of the season. They'll maybe start clearancing some of those bigger pots because they are tropical and they don't like to keep them over winter, so they try to unload them. And I picked up one a couple years ago, actually 2 pots of it, and I've got some decent little trees out of that. So yeah, I think that'll do it for this guy today. Yep. All right, let me give you a quick spin around. There's the front, there's the left side, there's the back, the right side, and back to the front. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.